I have to fully admit that when I first heard the news that there was a bestiary coming for the Cypher system, I raised at least 2 skeptic eyebrows, because I think a bestiary for a system like the Cypher system that spans many different genres is pretty damn weird idea to have. And then Monte Cook Games actually surprised me. Hi there, fellow roleplayers and Gamemasters. My name is Mr. Tarask, and this is the Cypher System Bestiary. Now, I still have a strong opinion on this book. I still do not know who this book is for. Well, yes, I know who this book is for, but I just don't know if there's enough people out there who this book is for that will actually pick up this book, if I'm making any sense. Well, it will become clear later in this video. So this is kind of like a first impressions video more, because I still don't have the physical edition, which is on its way to me. It just hasn't arrived yet. The Cypher System Bestiary basically is a bestiary, just like any bestiary from Wizards of the Coast or Kobold Press or Nord Games or whatever. It is a book with a lot of monsters. Now, the cool thing about this is it is the strength and the weakness of the Cypher system. It's something that I've said a lot of times, that the strength of the Cypher system is that it covers many genres and you can play any genre you want. It is also one of its weaknesses. The main rulebook for the Cypher system, for example, covers all of the rules, and then it just covers a little bit for every genre, and you need to get another book to really dig deeper in that genre, or just like make it up yourself. Now, that is its strength, but that's also its weakness, because that means they cannot really dig super deep into one genre without like making a separate product, a separate book for that particular genre, because otherwise like the main Cypher system book would be like this big, right? With the bestiary, it is actually the same. Now, that is one reason why I was skeptical about a bestiary. Another reason why I was skeptical about a bestiary is one of the strengths of Monte Cook Games' products. One of the main reason I like the products, I'm not talking about the Cypher system or anything, just the products, is that in every single book I have from them, maybe 1 or 2 don't have it, but almost every book for the Cypher system, the genre books, the white books, Ptolus, Predation, there's Unmasked, all of that stuff, they all have a bunch of creatures for that genre or for that setting that the book covers already in them. So if you have a few books by Monte Cook Games already, you already have a shit ton of creatures. You have a shit ton of creatures for, let's say, for horror, and you have a shit ton of creatures, let's say, for fantasy. A lot of those can actually be used across genres. So you already have a lot of creatures. So I was, as soon as this got announced and I heard about this, I was like, what? Wait. But then they released this, and it's actually a pretty amazing bestiary. Now, some of those concerns still stand, because as you can see right here, these are the monster categories. Like, this is the actual list of monsters. This is like more the list of monster categories per genre, and they cover fantasy, horror, fairy tale, modern, science fiction, superheroes, post-apocalyptic, sorry, and Weird West, which are basically the genres of the white books, right? So there's Godforsaking, there is Claim the Sky, there's We're All Mad Here, all that stuff. And as you can see, a lot of these, so for fantasy, you're only getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 monster categories, so monsters. Some of these have like 1 or 2 monster stat blocks to them, but not all of them, not nearly all of them. And for science fiction, it's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, a lot of these, like I said, can be used across genres. Like, for example, you can use, I don't know, especially like horror works really good. Demons you can use in your fantasy game. Werebeasts and vampires you can use in your fantasy game. So if you play fantasy, a lot of this stuff can be used in your fantasy game. For example, a unicorn. For example, mermaids, pirates, all of that stuff. Now, one thing that I always, it's a pet peeve of mine. If you know me, if you've been on my channel for a while, you know that a pet peeve of mine is art inconsistency. This is the most inconsistent book that I've ever seen. Monte Cook Games, sorry, the people who created this, absolutely nailed it. They did it on purpose, and it's great, because I'm just gonna click something here, right? If you go to the orcs section, look at this. Oh, This shouldn't be like this. Look at this, the orc section. Look at this artwork for the orc. This is fantasy artwork right here, right? This is real fantasy artwork. A wizard, I'm a wizard. Fantasy. Not only the artwork, but the layout of the book. It's beautiful. It's freaking damn beautiful, and it is fantasy. It's just fantasy. But when I go back to page 5, why does it keep doing this? I don't know why it keeps doing this, but it keeps doing this. Let's go to fairy tale. If I click unicorns, it goes here, right? This is not working, right? I cannot get this to work. Can I get this to work? Yeah, I can get this to work. Let's do it like this. I don't know why my software just decided to jump to the left all the time, but it does. So unicorns, as you can see, fairy tale type stuff is laid out. The artwork is more laid out like fairy tale stuff, right? So it's laid out like it, but also the artwork has just a different vibe to it. It's more fairy tale-y, especially this one, the magical winds. Now you can use the magical winds. I've read about this one. You can use this in your fantasy campaign because basically it's a magical sapient winds imbued with intelligence and purpose, including the west wind. Go where they will, blowing across the worlds or taking on specific humans and animal shape. So you can absolutely use this in a fantasy game. So in that sense, they made it open-ended enough. The creatures they selected per genre are open-ended enough, so there's a lot of like crossing of genres you can do as a game master. And it's actually something they make immediately clear with the How to Use the Cypher System Bestiary book. They just talk about like how to use it, how some monsters might be usable in different genres, and they come with a bit of artwork where a fantasy dwarf somehow found his way onto a spaceship where he and his wizard or sorcerer friend are beating the living crap out of some robot worm-like, I don't know, like creatures, which is a setting I don't know if it would ever happen, but it is crazily cool. They talk about how there are sidebars that refer to the Cypher System rulebook, like the Cypher System always have, and then they go directly into like the creatures by level, which is always fun to have. Level 1 all the way up to level 13. Imagine having to defeat a level 13 creature. And then they go into fantasy creatures, but there is even more. As you can see, now, this page just feels like a little bit like filler for me, where they talk about, like, if you're looking for a bit of general fantasy inspiration, use the following tables to throw together the bones of a fantasy adventure. For example, you roll a d20, you roll a 14, repair the mechanism that maintains the world's ability to host life. Okay. What's the magical talisman that must be found, purged, destroyed, or obtained so that the adventure can move forward to resolve the quest? You roll another 14, witch's human skin gloves. Or a bag of dragon teeth. You need to find a bag of dragon teeth, right? In order to repair the mechanism that maintains the world's ability to host life. Now, this is just like one page with some general IDs. I don't know if it's enough, if it covers enough. It's just a little fun extra thing to have, but it's just, I don't know why it is in here and every genre has it, but yeah, it's in there. It's great. Dragons. So they talk about dragons, and what immediately comes to my attention is that they kind of, I don't know what exactly they did, but they kind of fixed the readability of the stat blocks. They made like these bullet point thingies. Like in some books, this is just like wall of text kind of stuff, right? Where you're just like, what can this beast do? Do I really need to read through this entire thing in order to know what this beast does? And this is just more readable. It has a gnaw, it has an energy breath, it has captivate, it has panic, and it has change shape. Period. Bam. You can use whatever you want from that, and you can immediately find it if you need to find it as a game master. Also, they split up more like the lore of a creature or its explanation or whatever from the stat block. They actually created a physical stat block on a page. So there's dragons, but there's more than one dragon. So like I said, right here they're like dragons, plural, and then right here they're like, oh, all of the different dragons are on different places in this thing because there's different dragons here. There's a level 7 dragon, which is a basic dragon, which is a 21 to hit, which is already damn near impossible if you're just like a random dude. But But they also go deeper into like what a dragon is, and they always have this. I really like. They always, for each creature, they have the essence of, and then the creature's name. So the essence of dragons. Dragons are exceptionally territorial, vain, and greedy. Apex predators. Dragons must eat large meals or on a regular basis, unless sleeping in their lair. They love gaming, games of all sorts, especially when they get to consume the loser. Stuff like that. Just like a bullet. Like, I don't know, a small bit of information, the essence of that creature. They also give us a worm, they give us an elder dragon, and I like that they do this. Elder dragon, for example. Elder dragon has the standard dragon statistics, except for their increased level and as follows. So, elder dragon, you just go here, you increase its level from 7 to 10, which is a 32 hit, and then you just add this stuff to it. So it also gives you magic, and it also gives you the allies. Elder dragons are considered as gods by some, and then elder dragons may allow themselves to serve by 2 or 3 such oculists. So if you want to find oculists, they're on page 375. That's the convenience of the Cypher system. There's like, oh, there might be some oculists that follow the elder dragon and do abide to its bidding. Oh, where the fuck can I find oculists? Oh, right here, oculists, page 375 in the Cypher system handbook. It has 90 hit points, all that stuff, and they do that for elves. They even give, like, for some creatures, there's even maps. So there is a basic dragon's lair. Like, this is an entire session, maybe 2 sessions worth of gameplay right here. It's just right here. You can put some I don't know, kobolds in here that worship a dragon. You put the dragon at the end, the horde, or the dragon is here, and there's lava here to get over. This is an entire game, maybe like 2 sessions long of a game if you want that. It's just in here. That I really like. Dragon names, what you can find in the dragon's horde, and all that stuff. And they do the same thing with elves. They do the same thing with dwarves. And again, the essence of dwarves. Short, stocky, and often elaborately bearded or braided. Dwarves are as famously stubborn as the stone they cave their homes from beneath the mountains. Dwarves exemplify tradition, honor, pride, and smithcraft and warcraft, and a keen appreciation of wealth, as does their temper. When dwarves are wronged, they never forget. But they don't not only go into like races, because elves and dwarves are races, they also go into like a typical adventurer. What is a typical adventurer? Oh, by the way, dwarf names. Stonework traps. If a dwarf is encountered in their delve, so are one or more of their stonework traps, such as, yes, you get traps in a monster book. So it's actually more than a monster book, which I really, really love. And this is what makes this worth getting. This right here. This is what makes it different. It's not just like stat block, stat block, stat block. No, it is like, here's a creature, here is what the creature is, here's some names and ways to roleplay it, and for dwarves, for example, here's dwarven treasure, here's dwarven traps, all of that stuff. They go into a typical adventure. A typical adventure is level 3, the essence of an adventurer, adventure names. Some adventurers stand out from the crowd. For example, your roll of 14 sports a white beard braided with charms, an eye for expensive jewelry. Goblins, same thing. Goblin loot, a goblin lair, all of that stuff for only the fantasy things in here. I really, really, really like this. Now, this is only a first impressions video. I want to take out some of these creatures and do separate videos about these creatures, just to show you like how you can use them in some games, because that's something I want to do for 5th edition videos, but also want to do for Cypher System videos more, because people tend to really love those videos where I dig deeper into monsters. Like you can see, there's a naked alien right here in front of a window showing his thing to the world, because he's like, screw it, showing my thing to the world, because if they don't mind, then I will get on my spaceship. And okay, let's just scroll down. So everything looks really sci-fi with like these things right here and everything, but it's the same setup, the same kind of stat block essence of every creature, ways to like roleplay it, or like an AI form and an AI effect of this AI creature. And then they go into superheroes, for example. Superheroes, suddenly everything looks more like a cartoon anime, kind of like what do they call that? Is that a comic book? A comic book. It's a comic book, so everything looks more like a comic book. Super villain backgrounds, super villain motivations, super villain power origins. Now, I complained about this page for the fantasy thing, but for this it's more usable, because for me a superhero campaign plays out more episodic. You play like a 1 or 2 shot, and then you play another one, because you get like all of these adventures, because your superhero needs to go and defeat like different types of villains, different type of bad guys for different types of reasons. That's where this comes in really handy. You roll a 14, it's a paranoid, they are paranoid, they serve their god, and you roll another 14, bitten by a genetically altered lab specimen. So they are bitten by an altered lab specimen, a rat, and now they serve a god, and they are totally paranoid because they think the rat was the god that bit them, and they're completely going batshit crazy. I'm immediately getting like 1,000 ideas. Again, there's layers, basic gadgeteer mastermind lair, gadgeteer mastermind, all kinds of stuff, speedsters, supervillains, criminals, just like basic criminals, like Tony Soprano just sitting there, energy wielder supervillains, strong supervillains, like all of that stereotypical stuff you need in your superhero game is in here, and especially like the art and the layout completely changes from the stuff you've seen before, making this book completely inconsistent. And they pull it off in such an amazing way. Now, my verdict about this book at this point in time is that what you get is absolutely amazing. You get a book for different genres with different monsters. Some of them are really chosen so they can be like, they can cross genres and all of that stuff. You get some really cool tips. You get some really cool like lair options, extra options for certain creatures, like dwarven traps and all of that stuff. Everything that you get is awesome. The only thing that I can say about this is that if you are never planning on playing more than one genre, this book might be not for you. And by that I mean, if you are like, I don't know, 40 years old and you have a full-time job and you have a wife and you have like 6 kids and you also have like 3 other hobbies and you only have time to play like in your fantasy or in your superhero game. You have a superhero game going on with like 4 of your buddies that you see once a month and you play this superhero game. If you're that kind of person that can only play that superhero game ever, then this book is probably not for you. Although the superhero stuff that is in here is absolutely great. The superhero stuff that is in Claim the Sky is also absolutely great, and that will keep you playing for probably the rest of your life if you play only once a month. And this stuff in this book adds to that. I'll buy a lot, but not enough to justify buying that book just for that. Now, if you're the kind of person who likes crossing different genres, or just like putting different genres in the blender for your game, or you have a fantasy game going with, I don't know, your next door neighbor, and you have another superhero game going with the other next door neighbor, and you have a, I don't know, horror game going on with your mom, and you have a sci-fi game going on with your dad, I don't know. If you're that kind of player, then yes, this book is absolutely 100% for you. Absolutely worth buying. You're getting new creatures, you're getting new abilities, you're getting better readable stat blocks, you're getting lair options, you're getting extra like trap options for different creatures, role-playing tips, you get IDs for your campaign, all of that stuff from Monte Cook Games, who are brilliant designers anyway. So the quality is there, the artwork is there, everything is there, and until next video, bye-bye.